Hi there, I'm Melissa Mountjoy, and I'm here to talk to you about GMOs, genetically modified organisms. They're incredibly dangerous, and they're in nearly all our foods right now. First, let's nail down what a GMO is. It's when scientists combine the genetic codes of living organisms from plants or animals to make a new living thing. They then insert this new live organisms, created in some lab, into crop seeds like soy, cotton, or corn. Now, biotech companies, Monsanto, Dow, DuPont, and Bayer, they make insecticides and pesticides to spray on our crops. Years ago, scientists at Monsanto discovered live bacteria that managed to survive in a chemical waste dump. They took this bacteria and injected it into our crop seeds to make them resistant to their very own pesticide, Roundup. That's a GMO. Now, instead of just spraying our crops with pesticide toxic and insecticides, they actually inject the crop themselves with genetically engineered bacteria made in a laboratory. They've turned what grows naturally into frankenfoods. And not only are they making huge sums of money, but they've tainted our food supply. The FDA, the Federal Drug Administration, is supposed to oversee food and safety in this country. The agency says there are no health risks of GMOs. But internal documents disclosed during a recent lawsuit showed that even the FDA scientists knew that GMOs in our foods would create powerful new allergies and diseases in humans. The EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, claims that Bt toxins from GMOs is destroyed during digestion. But new studies show that the toxin is actually entering our bloodstream and mutating our cells. Jeffrey Smith points to a Canadian study of pregnant women who ate GMO foods. They found that the harmful Bt toxin entered 93% of the women's bloodstream and 80% of the cord blood of their unborn fetuses. Renowned Dr. Ron Huber says that GMOs in our food should be treated as a national emergency. Dr. Huber is a professor at Purdue University who for 50 years has worked for private and governmental agencies preparing for biological threats like germ warfare and disease outbreaks. Last February, Dr. Ron sent an open letter to U.S. Secretary of Agriculture Tom Vilsack warning that GMOs are causing new disease strains. But our federal government still says GMOs in our food supply are nothing to worry about. There have been hundreds of scientific studies showing the devastating effects of GMOs on animals, from rats to livestock like pigs and cows. These animals have suffered infertility, cancer, shrunken brains, and even sudden death. Jeffrey Smith is the world's leading expert on the dangers of GMOs. He founded the Institute for Responsible Technology and wrote the book Seeds of Deception and Genetic Roulette. He says that rodents eating GMO food become sterile in 3 generations. Pigs become cannibalistic. Cow intestines become paper thin and tear apart. How on earth could GMOs be safe for humans? Jeffrey Smith says he expects to see a dramatic rise in infertility, gastrointestinal problems, autoimmune disorders as a direct result of GMOs. GMOs aren't some sci-fi wave of the future. They're here now, though the average American has no idea because our federal government does not require GMO labeling on food products. Remember that GMOs are injected in crop seeds like corn, soybean, beets, and cotton. Oils from these crops are used in everything. The entire cereal aisle, all the cookies, all the crackers at your local supermarket are contaminated with GMO foods, with GMOs. Even the stuff you think is good for you, the granola bars, the smart food popcorn, kashi, are made now with GMOs. Why don't people know this? Because there's no GMO labeling. Other countries do require GMO labeling on food products. In fact, all 40 countries in the European Union, Japan, New Zealand, Australia, Egypt, all require GMO labeling on food products, but not the United States. Monsanto is so powerful. Monsanto is the largest producer of GMOs. That's the same Monsanto that helped develop the atomic bomb. That's the same Monsanto that created Agent Orange, the pesticide used during the Vietnam War that resulted in hundreds of thousands of deaths and bizarre birth defects and deformities. This company is pure evil, and they've taken over our food supply. In 2007, Obama, our warmongering, foreign bank-owned president, made a campaign promise. Here's an exact quote from Obama. We'll let folks know that their food is genetically modified because Americans have a right to know what they buy. But he lied on that issue, just like so many others. In 2010, the Obama administration appointed Michael Taylor, head of the Food and Safety at the FDA. Talk about fox guarding the hen house. Michael Taylor is a former Monsanto executive who fought against labeling pus-filled milk that contained bovine growth hormones. Now, he's fighting against labeling products that contain GMOs, and he's winning. Monsanto is so powerful. It rakes in more than $10 billion in sales each year. Last year, the company spent $6.3 million on lobbying the government. Securities and Exchange filings show their annual advertising budget exceeds $800 million. And that explains why the mainstream media isn't reporting on all this. PBS, Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, all are collecting huge sums of advertising dollars from Monsanto and the other big biotech companies. You want to see something disgusting? Go to Monsanto's website. They offer a $5,000 prize for moms who work on farms. It's a cheap ploy to appeal to American women, generally the food shoppers of the household. It says nothing about whether these moms know the dangers of feeding their foods genetically engineered cornflakes. So, why has our federal government allowed this? Yes, we all know by now that corporations own our government, but it's more than that. The globalist biggest concern is overpopulation. The globalist biggest concern is overpopulation. With GMOs dominating our food supply, it may be only a couple of generations before we see population decline as a result from birth rates plummeting, from miscarriages and infertility. It's a slow kill, folks. There are grassroots efforts around the country to demand GMO labeling on our foods. In November, California will hold a ballot initiative on it. Vermont has gotten close to passing a bill requiring GMO labeling. Monsanto is fighting these efforts with law foods, while even banning GMO foods from its own cafeterias. How telling. Join the efforts to demand GMO labeling. Your health and your children's health depend on it.
Yum.